Hi, I'm Theo Stocker for Yachting Monthly, and I'm here at the Dusseldorf Boat Show in Germany, and I've come to have a look at the Saare 41.2. Now, this is an update of an older model. It's the same hull, and we tested this one just over 10 years ago, and we absolutely loved her. She's a really solid, fairly heavy displacement, serious cruising boat for offshore coastal cruising and for blue water cruising, if that's what you want to do with her. Now let's have a look at the hull, starting with the bowsprit. And here you can see you've got a large platform bowsprit. We'll have a look at that on deck. And there's a ladder that folds down. And that's really useful if you're mooring bows to, or you're mooring to a rock in the Baltic, which is where this boat comes from. And you can also set a Jenica from the end of that bowsprit as well. You can see here that she's got a bow thruster. She also has a stern thruster, and that's controlled with joystick control, so you can have 360 degrees movement, turning the whole boat on her axis, and using the engine as well to help dock her, make it a lot more easy, particularly short-handed. And then you can see the typical Baltic rubbing strake there with a stainless steel band along the edge of it to stop you scratching your top sides when you're coming into harbour or into a box berth. Now, this boat is the deep keel version, so that's a 2 metre deep keel. There is an option for a 1 metre 80 keel, but the whole thing is made of lead with this really big extra bulb on the bottom. So that's an incredibly powerful keel with a low centre of gravity, which means that you can carry more weight above, a slightly taller rig, and also enough power to stand up to all of the cruising clobber that you'll have. The company that makes Saare is actually now based in Germany, where the former dealers actually bought the whole yard. They liked the boat that much, although she's still made in Estonia to the same very high standards by craftsmen there. And this boat is actually semi-custom, so if you've got a particular thing you want including on your boat, they will work around you and make that possible. You can see reasonably conservative lines coming to a narrowing transom. Nothing too beamy, which means that she's a really good offshore, very well balanced boat with a deep balanced spade rudder here in line with the keel, not a twin rudder. And then you can see there's no fold and transom, but she does have a reasonable sugar scoop stern with a ladder and a step through there. And just to starboard there, you can't see it now, but there is an emergency life raft release in that locker. You pull a rope, the door pops open, and you pull it again, and the life raft pops out into the water, which is a really nice launching system. So I'm going to take you on board now that we're up at deck level. But just to say, this is the 41.2, and the update has really been about making this more suitable for a couple cruising. The feedback that the yard had was that actually it was nearly always a couple going cruising, and they didn't necessarily want lots of space for extra crew. They would rather have a really large owner's cabin, lots of stowage space and comfort on board, rather than being able to have 6 or however many berths they could squeeze in. So this boat now comes in either a 1 cabin or a 2 cabin version, so that you can cruise as a couple in real comfort, and maybe, if you want to, take some friends with you as you go. But most people, if they're going off on a long cruising adventure, will go as a couple. Specifically, they've added this Targa arch, they're calling it. So just aft of the windscreen here, the spray hood will come up and exactly in line join up with the Targa arch. And then from the aft end of the Targa arch, you can rig a bimini that comes all the way aft over the cockpit. The advantage of that is that you used to have a little traveller in the cockpit. Now the main sheet can attach to the top of the Targa arch. The arch, if you don't like it, is optional. You can get rid of it, go back to the traveller, or you can mount the main sheet on the coach roof just ahead of the windscreen. Obviously, mechanically, that's slightly less good because of the leverage point. You're probably just over halfway along the boom, but that is now an option. I'll take you up on deck, but they've introduced an enormous bow locker for sail stowage, and that means that the forward berth has come aft, making it wider, larger and more comfortable. And there's also more stowage space aft with the options of various utility and functional technical rooms for stowing cruising kit and all of your systems. So coming up on deck, the first thing you notice is this gorgeous solid tow rail. That's no longer teak, teak's out. This is Iroko, which has very similar properties. It's an African hardwood, just as hard wearing, but more sustainable. And then you've got synthetic teak on the decks, which similarly will last and won't have the maintenance issues or the sustainability issues that teak has. So as you step up on, you've got nice wide side decks that come all the way to the stern. You've got these nice little push pit seats here, and then an easy step over onto the seat and down into the helming position. At the helm, you've got a large wheel locked off here. It's a stainless steel wheel, really solid. And then you've got all of your instruments on this pedestal in front of you. You've got a large chart plotter. You've got your joystick docking system, instrument repeaters, engine controls, throttle. You've got signal controls. And then you've also got various switches for your powered winches, so you can sheet in from the helm. And then all of your navigation lights as well. So you can control most of the boat without having to leave the helm. So at the helm, it's really comfortable to sit on the coaming here, hold onto the wheel. You can helm like this with a really good view, either through the windscreen or around the side of the windscreen and the targa arch. Or if you're helming standing up, the targa arch has been set at a height that it's below eye level, so that you can see over the top of it, even if the spray hood's up. Walking forwards, you have the German main sheet system led aft to winches here. That's a powered winch if you want. The primary winches for the Genoa sheets are also forwards. So you've got these large 50 size winches from Harken, which are powered for the Genoa sheets, and they come aft along the coach roof from Genoa car tracks. And then in the cockpit, it's a nice secure cockpit, reasonably wide, but not so wide that you can't brace yourself. Under the cockpit seats, as you'd expect, you have some stowage. Now, this one isn't just any stowage, this actually goes down into a technical room, which gives access to a washing machine, a holding tank, your heating system, your engine, your sail drive, and your charging system. And I'll take you down there below and we can have a look. And it's all just neatly hidden away, but very accessible. To port, you've got a cockpit sole depth locker, so that's perfect for putting in a few things like mooring lines and that sort of stuff. So just easy to hand. And then aft of the helm, you've got two lockers here. So that's a much deeper locker, so that would be ideal for fenders. And then the one to port, as I mentioned before, this is where the life raft will go. And you can see here, it's not quite finished, but because this is hull number 1 of this update, but there's a door here that will pop out and you can launch your life raft over the stern where it'll automatically inflate. And you've got a little steering rail here that will help push it out. So look forward to seeing how that works, because it sounds like a really good idea. So the targa arch is a really nice idea because it gets the main sheet out of the cockpit completely. You don't need to worry about that. And it replaces the traveller. It does mean that you don't have any traveller control to control your sheeting angle. So the Vang, the kicker, will have to make up for that. You'll also notice that the height of the targa is below head height. That was done deliberately so you can see over the top when you're helming looking forwards, and it comes to the aft end of where your spray hood would normally be. Which sounds like a really sensible solution. Your bimini can attach onto that as well. If you don't like that, it is optional, you don't have to have it. At the forward end of the cockpit then, you've got your halyard winches, and you've got Harken radial winches here with a good bank of cleats coming aft, and you can see here there's space for rope stowage. You could put rope bags on, but you've got designated space for that, so they can just go there. And then the same on starboard, you've got another winch, 6 more clutches on that side, and here you've got an opening hatch as you do on the other side, and this one goes down into the heads compartment. Forward of that, you've got a sliding companionway hatch, perspex to let lots of light down, and 4 instrument repeaters. And then you've got this lovely, really solid windscreen, which is quite common for Baltic cruisers. Once you put the spray hood up and potentially a cockpit tent up as well, that means that this boat is a really good option for cruising in colder climates, Northern Europe in the winter or in the spring, even in the summer if you're in the UK. But there's loads of shelter to be had, which is really nice. The other nice thing about the Targa Arch is it gives you a really good handhold as you're stepping up out of the cockpit, and there's an extra handhold here as you're moving forwards, and then you've got another handhold here on the side of the windscreen. So I'm just going to take this off, take the no entry sign off, and we're going to go forwards. Right, you can just see here that this is designed for serious cruising, serious longevity. Look at the size of that deck gear. That's a really solid cleat with a rubbing strake on top of the cap rail there, really nice. And then all of the hatches along the coach roof here are opening, so you've got really good ventilation. A good long handhold here along the top of the coach roof. And then you've got the start of the Genoa car track here, which goes quite a long way forward. That is a towable Genoa car track, so you can adjust it while you're sailing. The shrouds, chain plates actually come down to just outboard of the coach roof here, rather than out to the gunnel. Now that has the advantage that even when you're walking forwards, you don't have to duck under the inner shroud, lower shroud. You can just walk straight and with pretty unobstructed decks. And then here you can see you've got the anchor points for your jack stays, and you can actually have separate jack stays going fore and aft. So if you do fall over, you don't slide all the way to the stern. And just here next to me, you've got a gate for boarding when you're alongside. Right, moving further forward, and this is a detail that lots of boats don't bother with, but you've got more grab rails on the coach roof in front of the shrouds, taking you almost all the way to the forward end of the coach roof. Now, we've got the bow locker open at the moment, so we may as well have a look in there, and then I'll show you the foredeck with that closed. This is absolutely cavernous. Just look at that in there. It's so big, they've actually had to put a floor in to provide a sort of a layer so you don't have stuff below. But if there's stuff you don't use very often, stick it under there, and then you can get it out when you need it. But this is big enough to have 2 or 3 off-wind sails, plus a dinghy, plus fenders, and then you've got some shelves either side for stuff that you want to access easily. And it might be worth putting a rail in, so that if you want to tie things to the top, you don't have to clamber down inside to get it. Right. Closing that hatch there. Coming forwards, you then get to the anchor locker here. So in the anchor locker, you've got a really deep anchor locker. I don't know if the light's very good, sorry about that. But that drains to the forward end, straight out of the drain holes there. You've got underdeck furling here with a furling line taken aft. So that looks really nice and neat. That doesn't go along the deck at all. That is completely invisible, and I guess pops out when you get back to the cockpit. And then on deck, outside of the anchor locker, you've got your electric windlass. But a really nice touch here, look, you've got this stainless steel wear strip, so that as your chain's clattering and banging in over the deck, it's not actually touching the deck, it's running over this protection strip. And then here you've got this really nice big platform bowsprit, which is great for diving off if you're at anchor, but it's really intended for stepping over when you're moored bows to either the rock or in a marina. Righty-ho, let's move aft. Here we go, along the starboard side deck, past these handrails, deck dividers. Sorry, we're a little bit late at the show here, staying into the evening, so the lights are going off, and let's go back to the cockpit. Stepping back into the cockpit is nice and easy, either straight over the coaming or on top of the coaming, and back down. Right, let's head below. And here we've got relatively steep steps, but that means it takes up less accommodation space here. You've got 4 steps down into the saloon, perfectly easy to navigate. And actually that last step isn't a step, but it's a box. So here you can either keep your emergency rum rations, or you can keep your sailing boots or shoes, whatever you want to put in there. Let's have a look around. So this boat is finished in light European oak, but there are other options available. Now you can see that the saloon is really the heart of the boat. You've got these small hull windows which give you a little bit of a view out. Some more modern boats have got much bigger windows, but actually for a serious sailing boat, keeping windows small is probably better. So you've got L-shaped seating to port. If you wanted C-shaped seating, I'm sure they would accommodate that. Then there's a double leaf table that folds all the way out, so that the people sitting on the starboard settee, which is 2 meters long or more, means that that's a sea berth, but they can reach the table as well. Aft of the starboard settee, you have a proper chart table. Look at this, it's even big enough to keep your charts in, and your books, your laptop, which is a really neat solution. Well, it's just a proper seaman-like solution, and then you've got a chart table seat there with stowage underneath, drawers beneath the chart table, electrical panel. You've also got what they call a little mobile phone cubby hole. So just next to the power sockets, you've got a hinged locker that you can shove a few small items in and keep them ready to hand, maybe your navigation instruments. So here's the chart table hinged at the outboard side, and absolutely loads of space for keeping a proper number of decent sized charts in there. And then we've got the electrical distribution panel. Now, how's that for neat? So you've got these touch buttons here, but also with mechanical rocker switches behind in case any of those fail. And then all labelled up and numbered are all of your distribution circuits, so incredibly neat. In the saloon, you've also got a decent amount of stowage. You've got tanks under the side berths, under each berth, so the weight is central in the boat. But here you've got pop out and twist lockers, and that. Got an illuminated drinks cabinet. Every boat needs one. You've got some shelves there, more shelving here with nice big fiddles on. A locker there at the forward end, over on starboard, exactly the same. And just here, you actually have a pop-up TV that comes out so that you can sit in the saloon and watch your favourite shows. Another small locker there. All of the shelves have proper fiddles in, and they're really nicely finished. In the saloon table, we also have a fridge. The lid comes up like that, and that can actually be used as a freezer. If you wanted to, it'll go down to -15, -18, or you just use it as a ready storage for your drinks. There you go. So you can comfortably seat 6 or 8 people around a beautiful big table. There's no fiddles on this side, so that when you're dining in harbour, as you would be, you don't have to worry about that getting in the way. When you fold it up, there's a really good big fiddle all the way around the other side, so that you're not losing anything off the tabletop. Moving aft from the saloon on the port side, you get to what is an enormous galley. Just have a look at this. This is huge, really luxurious. Now, some boats would say this takes up too much space, but actually for a cruising boat, you want to be able to move around and have stuff to hold on to. You've got solid wood fiddles all the way around the edge, which make good handholds. I should have mentioned as well, there's a nice handhold up here running along the deck head. And then there's fiddles around the chart table as well. So you've got lots of good handholds if it's a little bit rough and you're moving around. Then you've got a Korean work surface, and this boat's got a black sink and a black Korean work surface. I might have opted for a second sink to put your drying up in, or just generally find second sinks are really useful on boats. Nice large work surface area. It's big enough that someone can be at the sink and someone else can be preparing food. Then you've got these 2 top opening fridges. Well, it's rather the same fridge, but with 2 separate tops, so you don't have to open the whole thing, which is good, save energy. And then this boat is actually fitted out with induction cooking. There's a 24-volt network that runs throughout the boat for bow thrusters, stern thruster, running the inverter, and also running the runs the inverter for the induction cooking, because this runs off 230 volts. Actually, most people have found that using induction cooking is now a realistic possibility, thanks to lithium battery technology, generators, solar panels. You can be independent and not have to find gas and all the different fittings that go with it. And the batteries for the 24-volt network are in the port aft cabin. So the galley's got loads of nice stowage here, really good big bins under the sink, and then a really good series of drawers here, cutlery, pans and all the rest. You've got lockers down here to aft of the cooker. You've got sliding doors behind the cooker and behind the work surface, and then you've got opening lockers above it as well. You've actually got little pin boards in here so that you can arrange pegs to keep your cutlery and crockery secure. Before we have a look at the cabins, let's just have a quick look at the heads. Here we go. This is aft on starboard side, just next to the companionway. And in here you are met with an enormous heads compartment. Here you've got the shower compartment, which is aft with a separate little screen. And over here, there's a door that you can pull back and seal that off so you don't get the rest of the heads compartment wet. And then you've got a fore and aft toilet here. This one has electric flush. Fore and aft's good because you can go to the toilet whichever tack you're on. And then you've got a sink there, and you've got lockers with mirror fronts in front of them. So it's a really nice finish. Now, importantly, let's have a look while we're here. We'll go aft through the heads compartment, and behind this locker, we have a washing machine. Hooray! It's probably something you'll use in harbour more than out on passage, but it's really nice to not have to rely on a laundrette. And then in here is a larger door, and this takes us through into the technical space. So let's have a look inside. So you've got your washing machine outboard here, and that's sitting on a sort of workbench. You have got a drain sump here, which gives you access to some of your hosing. That's stowage for your cockpit table. And then you've got a proper little workbench here. You're going to have to crouch down inside, but if you want to mount a vise or do some work tools or stow an outboard in here, it's really good. You've got proper practical stowage there for all of your tools and hardware. Here you've got your holding tank, and then aft you've got autopilot rams, access to autopilot rams, your charging system, and then I'm going to show you the engine and sail drive access as well, which are behind these two doors. So in here, this is outboard aft in the starboard technical space. We've got your diesel air heater and all of the ducting, and another bilge pump in here. So that's really accessible, very neat, and that just goes underneath what would be your workbench. You could probably put something over if you want to protect it or keep that closed, or stowage on top of it. And then sitting on this side, undo the bolts, you can really easily get to, this is your stern thruster system in here, and some of the charging systems, electrical systems, and electrical distribution panel. And then forward, we've got access to the engine. So in the technical space, access to the engine. Here we have the aft end of your Volvo 50 horsepower. A 60 horsepower is an option, but the extra 10 horsepower comes from a turbo, and the owners of Saare say they get more problems from turbos, so they have actually specified to go with a 50 as standard because they don't think they need the extra 10 horsepower. And then above that, you've got your calorifier tank for hot water on board and your domestic water distribution system. That's really good, easy access, and nicely illuminated as well. Right, let's have a look at the accommodation now. So coming forwards, we are going into what is the owner's cabin. And this is at the forward end. And you can see here we've got a nice big bulkhead at the head end of the bed, with a little step up here. I'm sure you can get an infill if you want to, but this is a proper 18 centimetre thick mattress, so like you would have at home. And the bulkhead is large enough because of the extra sail locker they've put in at the bow. They've been able to move the berth further aft and use the space in front of it, which means you've got a really good wide berth that's absolutely huge. You could sleep with your head at the far end, you could sleep with your head at the aft end, but you've got reading lights at both ends, whichever way you want to choose to do it, which is quite nice that they've taken that into account. Here, aft of the berth, you have shelved locker space. You have hanging locker space. And then you've got more locker space and drawers underneath there. A little vanity mirror as well, which is really nice. And there's a drawer under the step here. So they've used every little space for stowage. Under the berth, let's have a look. Yet more stowage. That's the good thing about having tanks aft. You get the weight in the right place, and it also frees up a cavernous space under the berth here. There's lots of ventilation in the forward cabin, so you've got an opening hatch here, which is a flush hatch, and then you've got another small one above your head when you're changing, one to starboard and a similar one to port. And importantly, you've got loads of headroom. I'm 185, so you're about 195 of space headroom in this forward berth, so there's plenty of space to stand throughout the boat. Coming aft again then, we're going to head into the port aft cabin. This boat has opted for the 2 cabin version. If you went for 1 cabin, this would be converted to sort of more technical and stowage space for all of your bikes and whatever else you want to take with you. But I think it's quite nice to be able to put guests up occasionally, and you can always shove stuff on top of the berth here. So you've got a little seat to starboard, sorry, outboard. That comes up, so you've got more stowage under there. There are batteries under this berth for your cooking and 24-volt system, and then you've got locker space, hanging and shelved locker space here, and again with a really nice long shelf here. Reading lights. And you've also got 2 opening hatches in this cabin. One new thing with this updated boat is that you have telescopic and spring-loaded washboards. So you never need to lose your washboards or struggle to fit them in again. It fits really neatly. So there you go, that's the Saare 41.2. I hope you've enjoyed having a look around her. I think she's an absolutely beautiful boat with a really high level of workmanship. Now, you're going to want to know what it costs. Base price. Now, this isn't base price, this is pretty much a really good level of options ticked, excluding sales and excluding VAT. You're looking at 470,000 euros. Once you've added in all of the options that you might want to do for heading off cruising, for some serious voyaging, you're looking at something like 660,000 euros, excluding VAT.